हाँ, नहीं नहीं, आई हैव नो डाउट, बट मतलब क्योंकि मैंने अपना जो सिस्टम लगाया था उसको मैंने ऑन किया नहीं।
Here now also it is loud and clear.
Life more than just work, because many people just end their life with work. शुरू होता है काम से, खत्म हो जाता है
Yeah.
काम पे.
Yeah. Good evening. Welcome to another episode of the show presented by Kala. Kala is for those who are crazy about literature and arts. As the name suggests, it is a platform for promotion of literature and arts. Our sponsors are Let's Talk. They are creating safe spaces for shared journeys. Please connect with them to interact with like-minded people. Our moderator this evening is Vardhan Dharkar.
Namaste.
Namaste, Vardhan. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Vardhan is a science graduate and chartered accountant with over 30 years of experience in leadership roles at various Indian multinational companies. During the COVID-19 pandemic, he decided to leave the corporate world to pursue his passions. Currently, he is learning Sanskrit and studying the Bhagavad Gita, driven by a deep interest in India's spiritual heritage. He has authored blogs on various Indian festivals, highlighting their relevance in modern times. Vardhan is also an avid photographer and enjoys cooking. But that is not all. This morning we were talking, and he told me that he has restarted cycling after almost 40 years. He also intends to take up swimming within a month. A truly inspiring life. So once again, welcome on the show, Vardhan.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Now about the guest of the evening. Let me add the spotlight on the guest for the evening, and that is Dr. Maitreyee Joshi for you. Welcome on the show, Maitreyee.
Thank you, Sanjay sir.
Thank you. Thank you for being here with us. So a quick introduction. Maitreyee Joshi is an ophthalmologist and a psychologist by profession and an enthusiastic writer. She suffered serious COVID infection and hospitalization for 52 days during the pandemic and has written a memoir of her illness recently by the name On the Edge. She has two books of poetry published by the name of Shells and Melodies and Insight. Pinhole, a bit clearer, is her first novel. Maitreyee has highlighted the delicate science of treating eye problems and how it affects the life of the sufferers. The book throws light on the human residing deep inside the white coat, the degrees, and the skill needed to treat the organ, which is only 24 in dia, but which can accommodate the world for an observer. So, ladies and gentlemen, I now hand you over to Maitreyee Joshi and Vardhan. I'll move out of the frame, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Uh, the show
Thank
presented
you.
by Kala and sponsored by Let's Talk. Over to you, Vardhan. Over to you, Maitreyee.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sanjay, for your warm introduction. And namaste to all our viewers in Bharat and outside of Bharat. Welcome to the show. Today, our guest is indeed really a special guest. She, as Sanjay said, is ophthalmologist, she is psychologist, she is a poet, and she is an author. So, this is a very rare combination that I think we have today on our show. It's our privilege to have you, Dr. Maitreyee Joshi, on our show. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Vardhan sir. I also want to thank Sanjay sir for that amazing introduction, and also to you. Namaste, both of you.
Namaste. So, let's begin our conversation.
Yes, sure.
So my first question today is not to you, actually, it is to Sanjay. So maybe if Sanjay
Okay.
can appear again on the spotlight. Sanjay?
Why do you want me on the spotlight? The spotlight is
Yes,
on
I
you
have
and
my
Maitreyee
first
today.
question to you. My first question to you today is that in last 6 or 9 months, 6 doctors have appeared on our show. So what is it that how do you find so many doctors who are writers?
So you now find people from other walks of life who are or who studied something else, who studied something professional, and they realize that they also had other passions, and it's that now there are opportunities that they have begun to explore these passions. So that's what it is. I hope that that replies to you.
Yeah, because I was just going through our past episodes, and I think almost 6 doctors have appeared on the show in last 6 or 9 months.
Yeah,
So
that's
I
right.
thought that maybe I should ask you that question. So now my first question to Dr. Maitreyee is that what is it that makes doctors successful authors or poets? Why so many doctors are turning to writing?
Yeah, your actually question is so correct. In fact, I think Times of India sometime back had an article about this particular thing, that a lot of doctors are actually into writing and into arts. So the first thing I feel is that doctors see his human suffering very closely. So somewhere down the line, and when we are working, we are not supposed to be showing the emotional side or whatever we feel from within us. We have to very logically think, logically give treatments. And so somewhere those emotions, which actually we do not express in front of the patients while working, I think it is comes out when we express it through writing or through poetry, because finally doctors are human beings. They cannot be just mechanically treating patients. They also feel the pain and the suffering of the patients, and I think they see life also much more closely than. I'm not taking it away from other people or other professions, but at the same time they see life very closely. Whenever patients come, they not only many times share about their sufferings, they share about number of other problems with the doctors, and maybe that's why doctors have started expressing themselves more and more through writing and through arts, is what I feel.
I think what you say makes immense sense. And really, it is true that when somebody goes to the doctor, he shares all his pains, not only related to the suffering, but in his life, personal life also. He shares it with doctor. So you have a ready-made, in that sense, material,
Yes, yes.
and this is a medium for you to express yourself. Well said. Uh, as Sanjay said that you are ophthalmologist, you are a psychologist. So what prompted you to become a psychologist after having become ophthalmologist?
So actually, it is not like a very decided, like not a planned decision or something like that. I was to begin with, I was an MBBS, an ophthalmologist, like specialist in eyes, and I was doing like I have a hospital in Pune. But it happened so that my daughter was young, and my both set of parents were in their professions, actively working. So I did not have much help at home. So, and I did not want her to be staying somewhere with someone else all day long. So then I decided that after 3 o'clock, we used to leave home at 7 o'clock and come back for the after the morning session by 3 o'clock. So I took a decision after she went into third standard that I will stay with her from now on, because now the lady who was looking after her was not sufficient. And so when I started getting that extra time, then my mind started working. So at that time, I also started writing a lot. I also diverged, like there were two options: with either I do MA in literature as a long distance, or I do psychology. So I thought I'm very interested in psychology, so let me study. So I just started studying, and that got converted into doing my MA in clinical psychology. That was also not planned. Someone told me, since you're a doctor, do clinical. So I did clinical. It was not like a very conscious decision as such.
Mhm.
And then people started coming to me after that. People referred from someone who knew someone who is suffering from some kind of a mental issue. They started coming to me like by reference. And then my guide during MA told me, don't practice like this, take a license. And so I took 1 more year to get that license. And then I became a clinical psychologist. So now I spend at least 1 hour every day for counseling. So
Okay.
that is my journey as a psychologist. So it was never conscious, but it just it chose me instead of me choosing psychology, I think.
Does it help you when you are practicing as a uh, doctor, that you are a psychologist, whether that
Yes, yes, that definitely helps because patients are of different mindset. They come from very, very different backgrounds. Some patients can be very, very anxious about their ailment. Even a simple, I can tell you about a mother who came, and when we gave glasses to the child, she started crying in the clinic that now my son is getting a glasses. What will happen to his eyes? So she was so anxious. And then there are people who just do not pay any attention to their ailments. They just are very negligent. So to trade through these, that more and more people effectively accept your treatment, psychology does helps. Like choosing the patients and talking to them in the way, like sometimes you have to make them understand that if you don't follow this, this is going to have dire consequences for people who are negligent. And then we have to little be soothing with the person, like the lady who started crying in the OPD because her son had to wear glasses. So there are different kinds of people, and it does help. Personality, reading personalities does help in that.
okay. So indeed a rare combination of ophthalmologist, psychologist, poet and an author. So if I have to describe you, maybe I will put it this way: is that you not only correct the physical eyesight of the people, but maybe through your writing you also provide them an eyesight for literature and art.
Yes, thank you so much for this wonderful description. Thank you so much.
So now let's begin our discussion about your writing journey. When is the first time your name appeared in the print?
My name appeared in the print very late, like when I wrote an article about eyes. You know, that was an article about red eyes, for which I
Uh-huh.
had written. So that was a time. It was almost 15, 10, 12 years back, maybe 12, 13 years back, when it first appeared in print. But that was related to eyes for sure. That was
Okay.
not like fiction writing or any such writing.
And when did you realize that you can write poetry or you can write fiction? When is it that that realization came to you? And more importantly, when did you realize that people love to read what you are writing?
What is there that I have been reading since I was a very young. Like I don't remember a time when I was not reading. My father was an avid reader. We have still maintained his library of more than 1,000 to 2,000 books because he was an avid reader. We always got gifts, books as gifts, and so that was an atmosphere. My mother was also an avid reader. She was like she had done MA in Marathi, so that environment of literature was always there in my family. Then later on, because of my like studies, reading fell behind a little bit. I was not reading that much during my MBBS days. And later on, as I told you, I got time only when I started staying back home for my daughter when she was in third standard. Third standard. So at that time, I wrote my first poem when I was 17 or 20. Later on, there was a big gap. I used to write a lot, but it didn't have any like kind of uh, the way to show someone or something. But I used to have that habit of scribbling. But when I was in my 30s, early 30s, it started. That I started penning down my thoughts, and they just had that properties of poetry. So I realized that I can continue writing. First, I was writing only for myself. Then I met mentors. Then I met people who were like in literature. They told me this: you can publish these poems. You can publish it in a book. So then I decided, yes, I can publish it. And then I published my first poetry book, Shells and Melodies, in 2012. So it was only related to poetry to begin with. Then, as days went by, somehow I got a little bit tired of writing poetry constantly. So I wanted to graduate to writing more prose, expressing my thoughts in a more elaborate manner. And so I started writing on Facebook everyday experiences, some experiences during my clinic, like when I meet people, as I told you, we meet people, but apart from eyes, there are different things about them. So I started writing about them, and people started appreciating it. That you are writing very well. These are the human problems that you are bringing forth, and we like reading what you are writing. Then I slowly started writing about movie reviews, about book reviews. I experimented with everything, whatever
Okay.
I wanted. I just went on writing, and then once upon a time, I realized that yes, I want to pen down my the other side of my profession. Like, it's not only about logical treatment, the surgeries, the everyday grind. It is also about the human side of those doctors and how it affects the whole profession. So then I wrote Pinhole. I finished writing it. I was writing it almost for 3 4 years, maybe
Mhm.
2017 to 2020. And in 2020 there was COVID, but then I decided, since it's been 3 years, let me publish it. So I published Pinhole a bit clearer. That was my first prose book.
Okay.
So
Okay. So maybe we can talk about your journey as a poet first. So if you can talk about the poems that you have written, the two books that you have published, what are they
poetry
about?
books.
What are the sentiments or emotions in them?
So they are a lot related to using nature for metaphors for life. A lot of those poems in Shells and Melodies about that, they are not about a particular subject. They are about random subjects, about seeing someone's pain, maybe someone's heartbreak, or maybe failure in my own life. Sometimes that you are trying hard and you are failing at something. So sorrow about that. So they are about number of different subjects, those poems in first book, Shells and Melodies. And then when I wrote Insight, I was coming more and more close to psychological or mental schemes around me. And so Insight is a lot psychologically oriented poetry book. So also I named it also Insight Trails of Thoughts. So I had
Hmm.
graduated from just emotions to some amount of mental element in my poetry. So that was about Insight Trails of Thoughts.
Okay, maybe if you can read one poem from either of that book, our viewers definitely would
Sure,
love.
sure. Just give me a minute. I'll just bring it out. So I'll read this out. An Earthen Pot. That is a poem about a woman who is like uh, a generation earlier from our generation, maybe, or maybe 2 generations earlier. This is an earthen pot. Sulba arose at dawn, and the first thing she did after she freshened up was to fill up the earthen pot. Her son filled up his bottle with the water from the pot. Her daughter filled her bottle with the water from the pot. Before Sulba could say goodbye, they both ran out for school. Even her mother in law drank water from the pot. Her husband quenched his thirst from the same pot. Sulba did all the household chores, and what was left in the pot was finally hers. Sulba again got up the next day and filled the same pot. Sulba went on with her routine of filling up the pot day after day, month after month, and year after year. Her daughter in law drank from the same pot now. Her son in law drank from the same pot, and her grandkids drank from the very same earthen pot. Son, daughter, daughter in law, son in law drank from the same pot day after day, year after year. And then one day, early morning, the son dipped his glass into the pot and found it empty. He ran to where his mother slept and found her still. The pot was empty this time around. Without giving anybody a chance to say goodbye, her body was now empty of her soul. So,
Beautiful.
so that is a poem about, like, she's the soul of the family actually, and she just goes on giving and giving until she just leaves her body. So now that pot is also empty, and now her body is also empty of the soul. So that is one poem from my book Insight.
Beautiful and very sensitive. And the way
Thank you so much. Thank you so
you
much.
have described this, you have penned it down is beautiful. I think
Thank you so
I
much.
should now make it a point to read all the poems in that book.
Thank you so much. That would be great.
Hmm?
What a writer wants or a poet wants is that people read what they have written.
No, definitely, I will make a point to read that. So, one question I wanted to ask you is that since you are a poet as well as an author, is that what are the qualities that are similar that poet and author has, and what are the qualities which are distinct and separate that author or poet has?
Poetry is about expressing something in a very concise manner. The more poems can be long, of course, poems can be long and poems can be short. But even whatever form you are writing a poem, the thing has to be very to the point and very concise. And elaboration has also to be done in that way. You have to stick to that point. You can't just waver here, there, everywhere. You can't do that. So the essential is that the minimum amount of words to express the maximum amount of emotion is a quality of poetry. And in prose also, yes, of course, you are not supposed to write it like everywhere, but you can elaborate those things. And you can make the most important quality that a writer or a prose writer has to do is that he has to transport that person who is reading to the place where you are writing it. And you have to create that picture and create those emotions, all kinds of emotions inside him, all kinds of feelings and sensations, like hearing sensation. The If you are writing something about food, then those tastes, his taste buds should get aroused by that. So that is a quality, and you can do it in a lot of elaboration. So that is a quality of the prose, and the quality of the poetry is a little bit different.
I think you have explained it very well. It will help our viewers also to understand the differences and the qualities that poet and an author brings to the table. Very well said. So, my next question is that what do you find easy to express in as a poet or as an author, or it doesn't matter at different times? These are different qualities.
Yeah, no, they both of the another essential difference, as you asked me previously, is that poems are about a lot of ornamentation. You have to use lots of figures of speech, metaphors. You have to use rhythm, rhyme, and you just people write a lot in this without rhyme and rhythm also nowadays. But rhyme, rhythm, cadence is also very important in poetry, which you do not need in the prose writing, not essential in prose writing. Okay, so that is one another very important difference between prose and poetry, and both require a a very high quality of skill. Here you have to, there are a lot of emotions, but you have to present them uh, uh, with lots of ornamentation, lots of figures of speech, and so that people will be able to hum them, sing them when it should have that quality, and that creates the memory of that poet. That quality, those metaphors, that rhythm, that rhyme creates the memory of that poetry. And here also there is a high quality of skill that is required, that you have to be descriptive and yet be very concise. You can't like place your prose here, there, everywhere.
Okay, very well said. Very well said. So, coming to your journey as an author, you have written now your first novel has been published. Before that, you have written about your experience for COVID-19. What prompted you to write about your experience as a patient of COVID-19?
So, I've had a fairly good life. Uh, I had a very good childhood, very safe, secure, happy childhood, good parenting, like all the things in my life actually, where like there were no problems at all. During COVID-19, that was the first time that I suffered very seriously. It was so serious that first of all, I got COVID. I was the only person in my family to be admitted because my oxygen concentration had started falling. And then after 2 days, it still went down, and so I was put on a ventilator. After about 14 days, they said that I was COVID negative, and they said that I could be taken out of the hospital. But in next day itself,
Hmm.
I got a hospital infection. So that hospital infection grew bad, and it grew so bad that the doctors, the intensivists, and all those people had started saying that we cannot promise anything. Though they were working very hard. They were doing extra rounds for me. They were doing every possible thing. Like my husband is also a doctor, so they had allowed him to be like a treating doctor in the hospital. So they were doing everything possible from their side, and yet they were saying that we can't promise that we can save, because we have lost many such patients. And from there, I was on ventilator effectively for almost 40 days, 40 to 42 days. And after that, then when finally that infection somehow, with God's grace or whatever that was, it subsided, and I was brought to the like out of the to the recovery room, and then I was sent home after they found out that I am breathing on my own. I came home with oxygen cylinders and everything. So all the aids were sent with me, and when I was sent, I was not able to even get up from my bed. I was like, when I was made to get up, they used to make me sit. Then they would like there was physiotherapy, and I was started being normally and walking almost after 1.5 month. So that was a very, very serious experience from my life. And then I did not want to write it, but people started, my friends started saying, you'll forget it. So at least for memory, you write it down. So wrote it down, and when I started writing, then it flowed. And so I'm happy that I did it, because I would have forgotten. Because when good times come, you forget the bad times. Now it's like a distant memory for me. But that was my very serious first kind of suffering.
Okay, okay. So you have really gone through a very tough time. 40 days on ventilator, I think, is something which very rarely people will
Yes,
come
yes,
out of
very
it.
rarely. And most of them lost their lives when they had such kind of problems. There was another girl who was also an ophthalmologist and who was pregnant, and she was similarly admitted when I was, and she also survived, thankfully,
Okay.
and her baby is also fine. The
Wow,
optimistic
fantastic.
part of it. Yes.
Fantastic. That's really great. That's really great. And it's really God's grace that you could come out of it successfully. So now coming to your book that you have written, the novel that you have published, The Pinhole. Why did you decide to select that particular subject about your own profession, and why not something else?
Actually, there is no any reason for selecting that. When I start writing something, then there is some kind of basic human truths that I want to talk about. And so when I felt that that basic human truth that I have come to know, or I have had a realization, I want to give it to other people around me or the other readers. And so I felt that this is a very good medium. Moreover, the research that I would have required to show the proper professional writing would have not been that extensive. So that was one reason that it would have been easy, which after you read the book, you'll realize that there are a number of technical aspects to the whole thing, which were easy for me and which I could reproduce because I already knew things. So the research required would have been less, and I could effectively convey the truth that I have realized through this. So I chose this subject.
Okay, makes a lot of sense. If you can talk about the book, what that book is all about, who are the main protagonists, our viewers definitely would love to know more about it from you, so that then they can be motivated to buy it and read it.
Yes, yes, definitely. That is what all writers, as I said, want, that more and more people read their books. So the Pinhole has a bunch of doctors who are newbies, who are actually, I have like brought them into the picture from when they have started studying. So they have, when they entered into the field of eye specialty. So they come from diverse backgrounds. Some of them come from having parents who are already successful doctors. Some of them come from very small places, like their native is very small taluka place, and they have that big ambitions of making it great in the field of medicine. And so they are coming from diverse backgrounds, and so their motivation to work in the field are also different, and their motivations make them make choices, and then those choices make them. So that is the story that I have tried to project. And then after they have made those certain choices, what happens to the science at large, to the medical field at large, which is like the field of ophthalmology at large. And I have seen that come what may, we are very small as compared to the science, and science progresses come what may. So that is what I want to say in the book.
Okay. Okay. So maybe if you can read a short passage from the book.
Sure, I can do that. So I'll write the beginning only.
Okay.
This is about a patient. I've also, not only there are doctors, there are also patients who are suffering real time. So this is one patient, which is Ravi Marathe, and he is like, he has lost his sight. So that it is a description about him. Dusk gathers, shadows of dark emotions, and with it come the changes the mind's ambience, albeit for a few minutes. For now, it had changed the aura of Ravi Marathe's mind. It was around 6:30 p.m., and there was a distant rumble of vehicles from the lanes outside Ravi's house as people returned home from the office as at their usual hour. Ravi was sitting in his study, from bedroom in his flat in Pinak Memories at Kothur. Frustrated, Ravi banged his fists on the computer table almost as if to break the desk. Instead, his mobile phone fell down, made a crackling sound, and the impact threw its exposed batteries to one corner of the room. The TV blared behind where he sat. He rested his forehead on his elbows, folded on the table, and wept, and his once muscular body convulsed with grief. Ravi, these times, what feats of intense self pity and anger. He would be enthusiastic in the morning, but the evenings turned low, for they brought back a sense of loss. Since a sense of frustration came in surges, he could not help brooding. Whatever punishment was served to those who were responsible for his current state would never return him his once vibrant and carefree life. He had been an intense person since his boyhood because he hated injustice and he stood up against it at every step. So this was actually, I read this because I wanted to tell you about this particular. This is a real patient, though it is fictionalized. This is a real patient, and this patient lost both his eyes when he was filling gas on a petrol pump, and few thugs came and fired those. I think they are called as charre.
Ah, yeah.
And
Sharai
they
ki bundu.
all went, that full went into his eyes, and there are multiple pricks, like 10, 15, 20 prick holes in his both his corneas, and we were mending it for next 4 hours in the hospital. So this was a patient, and he was really very, very zesty, muscular, and very enthusiastic kind of a patient. So he's remained in my memory. So that was a passage
Okay.
about the patient.
I think very well written, and the frustration of Ravi, you bring it out so well. Everyone will feel about it. So, what are your plans now? In next 12 months, next 24 months, what should we expect from you?
So there is a half-written book right now, by the name Shadows in the Mirror. So there are speculative fiction stories. So this kind of genre is completely different from what I have written in Pinhole. This is about a little bit of magic and little bit of reality. The kind of stories that everyone wants to listen to in summer vacation. But these stories are not for kids. These stories for adults. So basically, first I wanted to give the name fairy tales for adults, but then it would be not like kind of too obvious. So I made it shadows in the mirror because there are like shadows. There is no reality in it, but at the same time a lot of magic and lot of enjoyment related to that magic. So that is the shadows in the mirror. I think it should be out in another 6 months or so.
Okay, that's great. We will be all eagerly waiting for that book to be published. Any plans of writing in Marathi?
I want to write in my own language, and there has been a lot of everyone, like especially elders in my house, have said, "Why can't you write in our mother tongue?" But my language in Marathi for writing purpose, I can talk very well. That is what we call as Boli Bhasha. So Boli Bhasha
Hmm.
is very good for me. But the written language, I really have to practice, or maybe have a very good editor who can
Hmm.
edit my written language, and then it can become presentable. So yes, I can think of writing in Marathi for sure. Definitely.
We will wait for that day. We'll wait for that day.
Thank you so much.
So,
Thank you.
Sanjay, do we have time for the rapid fire round?
So we have about 1 minute 40 seconds total. So I think if you can wrap it
Okay.
up in 40 seconds.
Okay, I will make it. So on your Facebook, you have shown, you have put the picture of Taj Mahal. So what does Taj
Yes,
Mahal mean to you?
Taj Mahal means
In
to me beauty.
one sentence.
Beauty. Taj Mahal means to me beauty of archaeology.
Okay, next question is, since you are from the city of Pune and Pune is famous for Bakarwadi. So Bakarwadi or burger?
Bakarwadi, for sure.
Okay. Now, since there is no time, the last question, we will do it only three, is that in 2047, Dr. Maitreyee Joshi will be. Complete the sentence.
2047.
Yeah, 100 years of independence.
Oh, Maitreyee Joshi will be a famous author.
Fantastic. Congratulations. You have won the
Thank you.
rapid fire round and all the best
Thank
to
you so
you.
much.
Now, let me hand over to Sanjay before he throws me out.
So thank you so much, Vardhan and Maitreyee. It was really a wonderful conversation, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. So we recorded this conversation also, and we'll be sharing it on the YouTube channel. I'll be sharing the link also. And that brings us to the end of this episode of the show, presented by Kala and sponsored by Let's Talk. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed it. Please do read Maitreyee's books and share your reviews. We'll be back with the next episode of the show soon. Watch out for the notification about the next episode. Goodbye. Have a safe Sunday evening. Namaste.
Namaste.